Hello, everybody. I'm Lisa Shield, and this is Finding the Guardian of Your Soul. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited about today's topic. We are going to talk about the mystery of the 1%. Learn the truth about why some men don't call after a great first date. And it may not even be a great first date. It may be after, you may be online and you may be sending some messages to men and they don't respond. So women tell me all the time, I have no trouble meeting men. I just can't meet a good man. And I don't care if you're meeting a lot of men. In fact, sometimes it feels like women are telling me this because they want to say, I have no trouble getting a date. But I don't care how many dates you're getting. I mean, that may be somebody else's issue that they can't get dates at all. But what really matters is not that 99% of men who you're not interested in. The only thing that you really need to concern yourself with is that 1% of men that you really are attracted to, who you would like to explore a potential relationship with, or at least dating, be able to date him and get to know him, but he doesn't reciprocate. He's not interested in you. Many women will tell me, I rarely meet a guy I like. And then, they may say, oh, I went on, 30 dates in the last few months, and maybe 28 of those guys, she wasn't interested in, but there were, if I ask her, couple of guys, that she would have loved to have had another date with who didn't call her back. Now, I call those men the 1%. Those are the 1% of men that you're excited about that don't reciprocate, that aren't excited about you. So a lot of other coaches will tell you, if he doesn't pursue you, he's not your guy, and you need to just let it go and move on. You'll hear that as very common standard dating advice from a lot of other coaches. It's lame advice. It's really, as far as I'm concerned, that is really lame advice. If that is a pattern in your dating, that the men that you really like consistently are not responding to you, or they're just going out on one date and they're not calling you back, then you need to look at that because something's going on there. So is it entirely possible that these guys just aren't ready for a relationship, or that they're playing games, they're avoidant, something happened in their life and they just decided not, it wasn't a good time for them to date? Sure, like that stuff happens. But not all of those guys are not responding to you for one of those reasons. There's a reason why the men consistently that you're into aren't interested in pursuing something with you. So a lot of the smart, successful women I coach are extremely confident, and they should be. These are remarkable women who work with me, like women I would want as friends. They're really extraordinary women. They just aren't always smart about men. And they have a lot of confidence. And so sometimes they just want to brush off these guys who aren't interested in them. And they want to just make excuses so that they don't have to look at why the guys that they're interested in aren't reciprocating, aren't interested in getting to know them. There are other guys, that they're not into, but the ones they like don't like them. And when I talk about these women not being smart about men, like so many of us, myself included, they bought into a lot of the myths that are perpetuated about men. And so um, they're operating under many myths and false assumptions about male psychology and about who men are. And they have blind spots, and then they go on dates and they wear this facade, this self-image of being such a remarkable woman. And they are, don't get me wrong. But there's all these other behaviors about how to interact in a positive way with men that they just never learned. And so they think that they're a catch, which they are, but the problem is that they're doing things that they don't even know they don't know they shouldn't be doing. I don't know if that is too many negatives in one sentence, but they're making all of these mistakes. They have all of these blind spots with men, and they're actually turning them off, and they don't even know it. And this is really sad because you can be going about your life, you can be out in the world and really wanting this to happen. Like, I listened to a recording of a conversation with one of my enrollment coaches, one of the women on my sales team, and it was with a woman who had a very, very, very superficial or naive way of dating. And she just kept thinking, she was putting all this energy and effort, like over 2 years, she had been going on dates, online dates. She'd been going to bars and restaurants and all kinds of places to meet guys. And she'd been doing this for 2 years. And when my enrollment coach asked her why she felt she hadn't met anybody, she really, really thought that the problem was she was on the wrong dating site, or she hadn't met him because she needed to go to a different bar, right? Like, it was all about the location and where to meet the guy. And it hadn't occurred to her that she was the common denominator. I mean, we meet single men everywhere we go, all day, every day. There are millions and millions and millions of single people in the world. Actually, there are more adult single women today, 18 years or older, than in the history of mankind, or the recorded history, right? And so she kept thinking she needed to find a better dating site, or it was just a matter of location, like she was in the wrong location. No, it's her. It's her. She doesn't know about men. She's not feminine. She has a very masculine facade. The way she talks, her behaviors, her mannerisms, she can't see this in herself. She's never even been educated to learn to look at that part of herself, or to think about maybe there really are some things, even though she's accomplished, she's attractive, she has a good job, but she's not attractive to men. There's many, many things that are accomplished and admirable, to be admired about her, but she has not worked on the part of herself, developed the qualities about her that would make a man want to have a romantic relationship with her. And so, again, there are those 99% of men that are not going to be attractive to you. And that's okay. We only have so many hours in a day and so many years in a lifetime. Like, we don't have to hit it off with every guy we meet. But we do need to be able to attract the men that we want to attract, be able to engage those men, have the skills to engage those men so that we can get up front close and personal, right? And get to know them and get to see if they're a match for us. Right now, we're not even, a lot of you aren't even getting opportunities to get to know those men. And I guarantee you, there are some good ones. There are some ones that you are meeting that, can tell very quickly that you're not for them. And look, not every two, all two people are going to click no matter what. You are going to always find some men attractive who aren't attracted to you. That's a given. But you want to be able to get to know some of these men that you really are curious about and not feel like you're having to settle for men that you're not really interested in. Does that make sense? You want to be able to get in front of that 1%. The guys that really have it all going on, not the ones where you're like, oh God, he doesn't, in your heart, he's not a match for you. And there are plenty of great guys out there. One of the hardest things for me when I was dating was that I had to admit to myself that there were guys out there I really did want to get to know, that objectively looking out into the world, that I found handsome. Men who were interesting, men who were accomplished that I really wanted to get to know. And it was really a bitter pill to swallow to look at the men who I was attracting and realize those weren't the guys I really wanted. I wanted sharp men who were educated, men who had passion, men who were cultured. Those are the men that I knew I should be dating and that I wanted to date. But there was a point in my life where those men were not attracted to me. And I remember, speaking of the 1%, I met a man. I had been doing a lot of personal growth work, and I was already on that path, that part of my life. But we went on a date, and after the second date, he actually wrote to me, and he said, on our first date, I was actually quite excited. I thought you had a lot of potential. And then on our second date, I realized you still have a lot of work to do. Now, that was really not something I wanted to hear, but luckily I was at a point in my personal growth and development that I was mature enough to hear it. As I'm saying this aloud, I wish I had been even more clever and gone back to him and had the courage to say, thank you so much for that feedback. How do you think I still have growing to do? And I actually would have asked him. He would have been a great person to ask, because he had shared that with me. And it would have been an incredible thing for me to have gotten that information. I think it was really hard for me to hear it. I did hear it. And I actually went. He had been going to the University of Santa Monica in Santa Monica, California, and he had been studying spiritual psychology and then went on to become a psychologist. And I wound up going to that school because of him and getting my master's degree in spiritual psychology. And then between my first and second year, that's when I met my husband, Benjamin. But he was part of the 1%. This was a man who I knew was more mature than any of the men I had ever dated, including my ex-husband, for sure. And he was that kind of man that I aspired to getting to know, right? Getting to date, and who I thought might have had real potential as a partner. But he knew that I wasn't at the level he was looking for. So exploring, at least getting that feedback from him was pivotal, and being able to not just brush it off and say, oh, well, maybe he went back with his old girlfriend, or maybe he's not really serious or whatever. No, he really told me what was going on, and I listened. One of the things that I recommend to my clients that is also unconventional, and something you may or may not hear from other dating coaches, is not just to let that stuff go and walk away, but if there is a man that one of my clients really feels had potential, and she felt that they had a high quality date, and she really wants to understand the real truth, not the story she makes up in her head, but the real truth of why this man never contacted her again, we actually encourage them to send a very specific message to these men that we give them in my 12-week course. We word it in a very specific way, asking for feedback, and we encourage them to at least reach out to these men. And if the guys respond, that is gold. It is gold for a lot of these women, because many times the men will say, I felt like you had it all together, and, you just don't need a man in your life, right? Like, you're a fascinating woman. I enjoy your company, but I just don't feel like I could be a man you don't need a man. So men want to feel needed. They want to take care of us. They want to make us happy. And if you're too masculine and you act like you want a man but don't need a man, then a lot of these guys are going to say, wow, I felt like I was hanging out with, one of the guys at work, not a beautiful woman. They also might tell you, I couldn't tell if you really liked me. Like, I didn't get the impression you wanted another date. Nothing about our interaction, gave me that feeling. Or they may say, I think we have different values, what you're looking for, what I'm looking for. I just don't think that lines up. Or I didn't think we would have enough in common. So there's a lot of reasons why these guys may not have pursued you, but you want to start asking if you can, and you also want to look for common themes. Like, one person may give you feedback and you may think, that doesn't quite resonate for me, but you may hear it from 2 or 3 different guys, and then that's something you need to look at. Not every guy is going to respond. Some of these guys are players. Some of them, you dodged a bullet, but not all of them. There are some very valid reasons why some of these men are not reaching back out to you. And it probably has something to do with you, some blind spot in the way you're being with men that might be turning them off. So you have to be careful and not just blow this off, and not just, assume that he's a player, he's avoidant, he doesn't have time to date, he went back to his girlfriend. No, you can't do that. And you'll be cheating yourself out of one of the great opportunities to look at yourself and your behavior, and to let your dating and let these men inform you about ways you can improve. I know most of you, many of you, I'll say, really, want that, oh my God, I'm just going to meet him and everything's going to align, and, the stars will align, and we're going to recognize each other like some Hollywood movie, and we're going to fall madly in love, and it's just going to happen. There's going to be this perfect alignment. Well, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't. And we've all, many of us have had those feelings and thought, oh my God, this is it. And I've met my guy, and isn't this amazing? And then real life sets in. So don't be fooled. We all can improve. We can all date. We can all learn from our experiences and really use the dating journey as a path to enlightenment, and really let it teach us what works, what doesn't work, how we can show up and get the best results so that we can connect with these wonderful men, so that we can look at the 1% and one day be dating those men, sitting across from that 1% of men that we thought, oh my God, they're not responding, they're not interested in me. And suddenly you're sitting across from the best man you ever met in your entire life. And you can see that he is fascinated by you, and he does want to get to know you, and he likes what he's hearing, and he likes what he's seeing, and he likes who you're being in that moment, because you were willing to look at this part of your life, to look at these 1% of men who are not responding to you right now, and you're willing to have the courage to say, maybe I'm doing something wrong. It's not the bar. It's not that I'm on the wrong dating website. It's me. I have blind spots. Yes, I am a sensational woman. I am a catch, but I'm not engaging with that 1% of men I want to, but I can learn how. I can reach out to those men. I can ask how I can do it differently. I can learn from this. All right, everybody. This has been Finding the Guardian of Your Soul. I'm Lisa Shield. Please click the button to give me a thumbs up or a like if you enjoyed this broadcast. You can rate and like the podcast. You can go and follow me on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. I have a website, lisashield.com, if you want to learn more about me, if you want to find the guardian of your soul and you want to just stop wasting time and have a true professional of 20 years help you get this solved so you don't waste any more time or go through any more unnecessary heartache, then click the button that is all over my website. It will take you to my new video sales letter, which is 8 minutes long, or you might land on my 45-minute webinar. I have no idea yet. It depends on which funnel you follow, but watch one of those two presentations, stay to the end. And if you really want our help getting this solved so you can attract that 1% and find the guardian of your soul now, then wait till the end of one of those presentations and sign up for a call with someone on my team, and we will show you how we can help you get this solved. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Please also mark it on your calendar at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time. We also do a Sunday broadcast, or no, it's at 10 a.m., excuse me. We do a broadcast on Sundays with my husband and me called Getting Inside the Right Male Mind, where I get Benjamin to talk about dating and men and relationships and love from the perspective of a kind, compassionate, mature, heartfelt man. My husband. All right. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you next time.